Well, I guess the moral of the story is everything sucks and hope is hopeless. Good to know. It Comes at Night tells the story of a family surviving out a post-apocalyptic world in a secluded, boarded-up house in the middle of the woods. But when another family joins in on the secluded sanctuary, all of the fear and the paranoia of all of the lurking elements on the outside of the house start to wear on these people's trust, humanity, and their sanity. I'll be honest with you guys, I walked into this movie 150% blind. I didn't watch a trailer, I didn't read a plot synopsis. All I knew about this walking in was that it's supposed to be scary and it stars Joel Edgerton. So that's one of my favorite ways to walk into a horror movie nowadays, totally blind. And I was really surprised once this movie got going because I was expecting to walk into just a straightforward horror movie, when in reality It Comes at Night is this very cold, quiet, and very unapologetic psychological drama that's just kind of bound within the atmosphere of a horror movie.
What's he see? What's he see?
He heard something. Let's get back in the house. Now!
So let's talk about the positives of It Comes at Night. First and foremost, right off the top, is the direction by Trey Schultz. Now, I've never seen this guy's first movie, but in this one, I can tell that this guy knows how to build suspense. He knows how to build tension. He knows how to build dread, because from the very opening scene of this movie all the way to the very end credits, he completely nails the dread and nails the suspense. He just slowly ratchets it up. The movie doesn't give you any moment to breathe. It doesn't give you any sympathy whatsoever. It wants you to feel enclosed. It wants you to feel claustrophobic. It wants you to be on the edge of your seat in every single frame, waiting for something to jump out or something to explode or something to go horribly wrong. And I'm going to give a lot of credit to that because that's something that many movies get very wrong with much more to work with. This is a movie that definitely knows how to freak you out and knows how to make you feel uncomfortable. It's a really visually driven film too, especially with some of the dream sequences, and even when they're in the woods, some of the cinematography and some of the long panning shots. There's a lot of really creepy tension that's built with just singular shots. There's one that I really paid attention to and really enjoyed. When you see a character just slowly going farther into the woods and farther out of frame, but the camera just focuses on this little branch that's just kind of enclosed on itself, and you can just barely see in between that branch to see the person that's slowly just walking into the darkness. Another big positive is Joel Edgerton. This is a guy that I have never seen give a bad performance. He's in one of my favorite movies of all time, Warrior. I liked him a lot, even movies that I don't care too much for. A couple of years ago, he had a movie called The Gift that he was awesome in, and he's just an actor that just constantly delivers. And his character in this is pretty much the main guy that you follow. He's not necessarily your protagonist, but he's definitely the guy that your eye is drawn towards for the majority of the runtime. And he did a damn good job at playing this father whose sole goal in this entire world is to protect his family at all costs. You see his humanity start to slip, you see his sympathy start to slip, and it's all about survival. His only purpose is survival, and he nailed it.
I just want to talk. And I want honest answers. Do you have any idea what's going on out there?
And the other big thing that I'm going to give some praise for with It Comes at Night is that this movie's got some balls. It definitely goes its own path. It definitely makes decisions that's not going to please everybody. It's not concerned with being this big, universally praised movie that everybody walks away loving. No, it's definitely taking some chances that it's not going to appeal to everyone. And I definitely like movies that decide to do that because sometimes it really pays off for me. Unfortunately, though, a lot of those risks and a lot of those questions and a lot of those unique decisions that this movie took did not appeal to me. And I'm going to be honest right out of the gate, guys, this is a very divisive and very subjective movie. I think even the people who walk away loving the hell out of this movie will admit to that this is not for everybody. There are things about this movie that one person will love and they're going to think it's enthralling and unique and totally captivating and executed perfectly and really interesting and oh my god, that was so good. And then you're going to have somebody sitting right next to them with the same interest who is going to look at that and think that it's just this underwhelming, artsy, underdeveloped, really slow burn of a movie that they're not really going to have the interest to watch ever again. And unfortunately, I lean much more into that side of the camp. Right from the opening of this movie, you get the hint that this is going to be a slow burn of a movie. It's not in any hurry to do anything. Really, until about 15, maybe even 20 minutes into this movie, I didn't even have any idea what the plot was. I was just watching characters do things. I was watching them introduce us to this world, introduce us to Joel Edgerton and his family, introduce us to the tone and the dread and the hopelessness of this theme. And to me, I was like, where is this going? Then all of a sudden, things got started in the second act. And once that plot got going, it was interesting seeing these two separate families interact and coexist, and you had this growing fear and paranoia on both sides, not only of all of the elements on the outside of the house, but all the elements on the inside of the house. It was interesting seeing all that play out, especially since the tone of the movie lets you know that it's not going to end very well. But unfortunately for me, I've seen a handful of movies do the same exact thing. Movies like The Road, Z for Zachariah, Carriers, there's even a couple I'm probably forgetting. I've seen plenty of movies over the past 5 to 10 years tackle these same exact themes, these same exact story elements, these same exact motifs, and even going all the way to the final frame of this movie, tackle the same exact resolution, or lack thereof, to be honest with you, that to me it was all predictable, it was all been there, done that, and it wasn't really all that interesting to me once it was going. It didn't really help that the movie was slow, but the fact that I had already seen this story so many different times, it just kind of bummed me out, and I'm watching it going, I know exactly where all of this is going to end up in the end. And I did. Now, to be fair, if you haven't seen all of those movies that I just listed, this is probably going to be a really unique and interesting experience for you. So that's definitely a criticism that's going to be unique to me and people who have seen those movies like me, which again speaks to the total divisive and subjectiveness of this movie. The movie presents a lot of interesting questions and a lot of moral quandaries and a lot of things that if you were in that situation, you would most definitely encounter numerous times, but unfortunately, the style of this movie, it chooses not to give too much resolution at all. It doesn't answer hardly any of the questions. You don't get to see very much. It's definitely one of those movies that chooses to scare you with what you don't see, which is effective sometimes and frustrating in others. I was more frustrated in this one, especially as it kept not showing you things. But that just speaks, again, to the divisiveness of this movie. You're going to have people who really like those questions, who are really engrossed in those questions, and you're going to have people that feel underwhelmed, and they're going to feel like there was a lack of resolution because some of those questions didn't get answered. And I know everybody doesn't have to have everything spelled out for them, but sometimes a movie does drag you down a little bit when it doesn't give resolutions to things, and you have to come up with so much on your own as you're walking out of the theater. And touching on a few of the other characters too, really aside from Joel Edgerton, there wasn't really too much character development at all in some of these people. Some people are really going to disagree with that, but the movie just kind of does not focus on too much at one time. It builds some interesting things between a couple characters, and then it skates past it, and it never really revisits it ever again.
Hey.
Oh, sorry. You scared me.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
What are you doing up?
Just can't sleep. I always used to come in the kitchen and eat food if I couldn't sleep. What about you?
I don't know. I haven't been able to sleep for a while.
You get the son in this movie, Travis, and he's kind of torn between the ideologies and the drive of his father, Joel Edgerton, and his own innocence and his own humanity. And he's constantly battling that throughout the movie. He's constantly battling with his father's really harsh, really rash, really unapologetic decision making, while also trying to hold on to the little bit of innocence and a little bit of humanity that he has left in a world where there is no more room for that. And while that is a really interesting character dynamic to have, I just feel like the movie doesn't quite reach the depths that it wants to reach, or that it thinks that it reaches, because some of these characters, you get a little bit of those deeper moments where you start to kind of understand their characters and start to really sympathize and kind of grow to attach to these characters, and then the movie doesn't revisit it again, so you kind of lose all sense of that. So even when things start to go south in here, whenever you're really supposed to be emotionally invested and you're supposed to be kind of heart-wrenched and you're supposed to be really affected by what's going on screen, I wasn't really affected all that much, because aside from Joel Edgerton, I felt like I didn't know any of these people. In the end, guys, to wrap all this up, It Comes at Night is definitely a movie that deserves to be seen. I just think that it's going to be such a subjective and such a divisive film that, being that I didn't enjoy a lot of the unique aspects of this film, I can't recommend that everybody go out and spend a ton of money on it. It's definitely atmospheric, it's definitely unique as far as the story directions and the tone and the dread, and there's a lot of great camera work and a lot of great dream sequences in this. It's definitely going to chill you to your bone in a few spots. but the movie just doesn't get as deep as I wanted it to get. It doesn't resolve as much as I wanted it to resolve. And the ending to me was just so cliche in the way that so many indie films end nowadays, with a lack of resolution, that it's frustrating for me to this point. It's a cliche that I fucking hate. So if you're interested in checking out the exploration of people's humanity in a world where there is no more room for humanity, and you haven't seen all of the other movies that have explored that exact same theme, definitely check out It Comes at Night. But wait, save a few bucks, and check it out on Netflix. So what did you guys think of It Comes at Night? Did this movie really deliver a lot of things that you wanted it to deliver, with ratcheting tension and a lack of resolution and not giving you too much, but a lot of really dreadful and really suspenseful scenes? Or did this movie kind of underwhelm you and just leave you thinking about a lot of other movies that you've seen that have done the same exact thing time and time again? Put all of your thoughts on It Comes at Night down in the comment section below, and we'll talk about it. Please like and share this video, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to check out some more of my social media links, you can check all those out down here, including my new Patreon page where you can help support this channel and also get a lot of really cool exclusive content for patrons only, so check all that out. And if you want to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.